Perfect. Sorry, I'll try to talk away from it, I guess. Yes, we're excited to talk about it. I'm actually going to be covering the top of the marketing funnel. We'll have Peyton do the middle of the marketing funnel, and then Brendan, of course, will be the bottom of the marketing funnel. So just talking about the top of our marketing funnel, we call that, there's a lot of names for it. It's called the living stage. It's also called the awareness phase. It's called tofu, also top of funnel. But the key in this stage is providing solutions to people's questions, right? And this is more broad. These are people that are not familiar with your brand. So the goal is to get your brand in front of them, to make sure that you have helpful content that you're putting out there, engaging content, entertaining content. I feel like a lot of times brands are so careful, they're so scared of making the wrong move, and because of that, it comes across really flat and stale. It's very direct, there's no personality behind it. This is the part of the funnel where you can let loose a little bit and try to have fun, try to make it engaging, try to make it helpful. That's the best way to reach those users and make them familiar with your brand and make sure that they're compelled to come over and work their way lower into the funnel. It actually reminds me a lot. The reason I think they're calling it the living stage is because it is people just living day to day. They're just going throughout their days. As we all live our lives, we're going to encounter situations where we have needs, wants, desires. Those are going to just pop up out of nowhere. Maybe all of a sudden you're thinking, I need a new rug for that front room. And so you're going to start doing some research. And you investing in the top of your funnel is going to make sure that you have your feelers out there and you have things in place that are going to potentially draw them in. The goal is to be more engaging and helpful than the competitors that you have out there. And there's a lot of ways you can do that. A good strategy, if you're planning to build a page or creating a piece of content that is meant to compete or to pull traffic in for a more broadly targeted keyword, then what you would want to do is you would want to go to Google whatever it is that you're targeting, take a look at those top 3 results, and see what other people are saying. What does Google like the most, right? Who's in the first spot? Who's in the second spot? Who's in the third spot? What do they have listed on their website? How are they pulling people in? They're not going to be more of it's not going to be transactional in nature, but it is going to be more informational type of searches when they just start that part of the top of funnel. And it actually reminds me of a quick story. Is the first big job I feel like I got right out of high school was with Convergys. I don't know if anyone knows of Convergys, but it was a call center. And I had the interview. They said, you're hired. Come back on Monday. They said, we're going to start you at $8.50 an hour. And I was beaming when I walked out of there. I felt like I should call my mom and be like, Mom, we made it. I'm making $8.50 an hour. I got my diploma. We're rich. Let's spend this money. So I think the biggest thing for the living phase is just being there, being ready for people when they start the information gathering phase, when they start to realize there's a problem or there's a desire or there's a need. There's specific ways, and we'll talk about those in the upcoming slides, to where you can make sure that you're in front of them. The last thing, is just that the last thing I'll say is they also refer to this, the top of the funnel, as the cold audience. And the reason they call it the cold audience is because they don't even know who you are, right? And Convergys, my job was cold calling. So right away, I'm on the phone calling people up. Ted from Nebraska would pick up and I'd be like, Ted, how's your long distance? Do you want to buy 600 minutes from AT&T a year? That's what I'm offering you. And that was, back in the day, that was the way to get in front of that audience, right? Is cold calling. It was painful. I wasn't even there that long, right? And I thought it was my dream job. But luckily, we have marketing channels now that help us do the cold calling, right? And we'll talk about those, but I'll go ahead and hand it over to Peyton.
Before he starts it, I just want you guys to know that it sounds like if you've tried every top of funnel approach and you haven't found success, you can call Candid and he will cold call for you. He has
I'd be
experience.
happy to. Yeah.
I was also going to say, if you don't know Candid, you might think that he's used all of his material already. He's got plenty left. He'll keep on talking.
Yes.
When we talk, so I did want to say too, if you have any questions throughout, we'll take questions at the end, but if you have any questions about something that you're struggling with, a specific stage of the funnel, a specific channel, how we think about KPIs and what we should be looking at, whatever. Just if you ever have any questions, just raise your hand and we'll take it. The middle of the funnel, looking stage, consideration, education, research, it's really when someone's moved from just simply knowing that your brand or product exists to really trying to figure out what the best solution for their problem is. And so, yeah, we'll talk about that more, but it's really an opportunity for you to continue to stay in front of them and try to capture some micro engagements or micro conversions to keep them engaged with your brand and learn as much as possible about you and your product.
All right, so I have a lot less to say than Camden, but bottom of the funnel. This is probably the part of the funnel that the only part of the funnel that some brands think exists. But this is when they're ready to buy. This is when they're ready to take action. This is when those potential customers are primed and ready, and it's your job to push them over that edge to take that desired action, removing any friction that might prevent them from making that buying decision or submitting that lead or whatever that action is for your brand.
Perfect. Okay, so building awareness. Let's talk about initiating the customer journey, talking more about the awareness phase, that top of funnel approach. We walked up here to Vanilla Ice. That was no coincidence. Ice Ice Baby was a popular hit, and part of the lyrics in that song, he says, "If you have a problem, yo, I'll solve it." And that's exactly what we need to be thinking about when we're in that top of the funnel. What problems can we help people solve? Can we be more helpful than what our competitors, the information they have out there? You can do the research. You can Google. You can find out what people are doing. It's not hard to do that research. But as far as the questions that consumers are asking in this phase, they are very much in the information gathering phase of the funnel. So every single one of these questions, what's noticeable to me is it is all informational. I come from the SEO world, so talking about search intent. Search intent can be transactional in nature, which is more bottom funnel, or it can be more informational in nature. For the informational in nature type of queries, from an SEO perspective, you can provide, a list of the top 10 rugs you can have for your front room. I used that example earlier. Just things that kind of, if you're thinking about ROI at this phase in the funnel, you're thinking about it wrong, because it's not about your bottom line, what it's going to equate to in terms of dollars at the end of the day. Your goal is going to be getting views, impressions, and clicks. And I was with Derek last night out to dinner, and we were talking about, layering marketing channels and getting impressions going and views. And he brought up a good point. We were talking about if impressions don't have impact, if your impressions aren't impressive, then you're just floating around out there. You need to make sure that what you're putting out there in terms of your impressions, when you do finally reach your target audience, that they are compelled, right? Let's see here. So, go ahead.
Kelly and Brock talked about video in the workshop right before this, and one of the metrics that Kelly pointed out was view rate. I think that's a perfect example of that. We've got engaging content, and we're targeting the right audience, and that's making that channel and that part of the funnel work as hard as possible for you. Yep.
And then the last part that I think in this slide we'll cover is just the questions that the consumers are asking at this phase would be, is there a better way I can go with this? Is there any new technology? Is this product evolved? How long has it been since my last purchase? They're going to be asking themselves all these questions. Is there anyone else with the same problem? What is the best solution? What they're looking for is just you being in front of them, whether it be using display, which I call online billboards, those little banners that follow you around on ESPN or wherever you're going. Video, right? You can have a YouTube channel that draws people in. You can run pre-roll, the little ads before the video. You can do SEO, of course, and then social media. And what's even better is leveraging these mediums together. If you create a great piece of content and you spend all this time, you've done the keyword research, you have everything set up on your website, you're trying to draw people in, why not share that on your social media? Why not have a call to it in one of your videos? Say, hey, if you enjoyed this content, we actually have this other piece of content that you'll really like. Leveraging those together helps you build a really robust, strong network to help get those users kind of circling around in the top of your funnel.
I think that, just real quick, like the key metrics that we're looking at in top of funnel are generally volume based. So it's impressions, views, clicks, and that's the goal of this stage of the funnel.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I will say, all the key metrics are volume related typically at this phase of the funnel. So we're not, like I said, we're not worried about leads. We're not worried about ROI. We're worried about How many people did we get in front of? Are we spreading our awareness? Are we making more people more familiar with our brand? If you're doing those things, you are filling the top of your funnel.
I think that, sorry, I feel like I'm talking a lot. The Ben talked about that story with the two hikers in the woods with the bear, and then at the end he was like that guy understood his goal, that he was putting his shoes on not to outrun the bear, but to outrun his friend. And I think that is this working? Okay. I think that that's important as we consider the stages of the funnel. Like, it's not, you can't try to force your display ads or your pre-roll ads or your connected TV ads or whatever it is that you would consider billboard or TV or whatever it is to drive immediate results. You can't force that to happen, but you still need to be there. You just have to look at it differently and understand your goal.
Perfect. So you see we have another wrapper on this slide, and if you're asking yourself, are we going to see a wrapper on every one of these slides? The answer is yes. Yes, you're going to see that.
Yes, you will.
It's a recurring theme, and if you're not a big rap fan, if you haven't chosen a side between the Drake and the K-Dot beef, that's okay. We'll explain, we'll drive the point home for each of these rappers, just to help us explain the slide better. But here we have Sir Mix-a-Lot. We all know I won't sing it, but he's very popular for a song. But the reason Sir Mix-a-Lot is in here, you can see this is real data from our clients, and you can see us here starting to stack marketing channels on top of each other. So the reason Sir Mix-a-Lot is on this slide is because when you mix a lot of your channels together, you get better outcomes. We've done case studies internally. When people run paid search and SEO together, we get better outcomes for both when they're leveraged together. And what's even better than that is when you have an agency or whoever it is that you're using to run these mediums, if they can communicate internally, it makes all the difference too, because I can go into a paid search account, I can see the top keywords. I can go into my SEO tools, I can see their top keywords. Are there opportunities? Do things line up? Are there things that we haven't tried to capitalize on? All of that's important, but you can see the impact that this has when we start SEO right there on that dip, and then once we start hitting display, video, and loading up those marketing channels, we're getting exponential outcomes. And that just makes the top of the funnel bigger, and no one loves big marketing funnels more than Sir Mix-a-Lot. So.
And one thing I would say here too is it's important to see that slow growth, right? As opposed to some of the data that you'll see in some of the other slides. It is that slow growth. It's not that immediately turn on a switch and suddenly it happens. It is that long-term commitment.
For sure. And another rapper. Can anyone tell me who that is? Eminem. One of his most popular songs is called Lose Yourself. In there he says, like, if you have one chance, one opportunity, that line. And I think that's how we should be looking at, all stages of marketing is like, if you had one chance to get in front of this customer, what would you say? But really here, now in the middle of the funnel, in the looking stage, again, they know that you exist now. They know that you have a product that can solve their needs. So what are you going to tell them to keep their interest? What are you going to do to help them want to consume more of your content, to learn more about your product? If you can read these questions, I think it's important to understand what possible customers or consumers might be thinking, and that will help you determine what you want to say, the messaging in your ads, what channels you want to be in. But I think the middle of the funnel or the looking stage is often overlooked. Like, everyone loves the bottom of the funnel because that's where, and it's true for Brendan as well, because that's where the conversions come from. Paid search, everyone does paid search, and as you should. Like, that's where the conversions come from. Everyone does paid social, which oftentimes could be seen as bottom of funnel, especially for like an e-commerce company or something like that. Lots of purchases happen on social. Phil showed a lot of statistics that lots of the younger population or demographic, that's where they're consuming content and making decisions. But the middle of the funnel and then the bottom of the funnel, everyone knows that they need a brand too. Just sometimes like we feel like they should be doing more of it, or they're not gauging it correctly. The middle of the funnel, I feel like we don't often think about what we're going to do to get them from bottom or from top to bottom. And so I think the biggest thing I want to say is the KPIs or key metrics that we look at here. It's these micro engagements, these micro conversions, such as content viewing. So like for an auto dealerships, that's a VDP. We have specific channels, social and VIN retargeting, where we're trying to drive more VDPs, vehicle detail page views. For an e-commerce company, that would be product views. So we want more people looking at your products, looking at content, reading all that they can about you, staying on your site as long as possible. Yeah, so like the point is just to keep them engaged with your company and not others.
So yeah, I'll just add in, from an SEO perspective, when we're talking about questions, the questions that consumers are asking at this phase, they're asking things like, how is this different from other similar offerings? Will this product offering meet my needs or solve my problem? What are the key features and benefits? Those are all excellent topics to create content around. Content's been Google's #1 ranking factor for years now. So if you're creating quality content, and like I said, a really easy way to know if you're kind of measuring up to your competition is to go to Google, type in whatever it is that you're creating the content about, and see what pops up, and click into those websites and see, do they have bullets? How much of a word count is that page? Is it over 1,000 words? Is it 1,500 words? Do they share a video? Do they share images? What key features and benefits are they listing? Because not only do you have to match what they have out there, you got to surpass it, right, to win, to really compete with these guys. And that's going to take a little bit of time from an SEO perspective specifically. But as we go down the marketing funnel, users are obviously getting deeper and deeper into the website. So these would be great pages to set up and then to populate across, social, wherever you want to go with it. Guides, right? I have clients in this room that do a lot of guides for all their different product offerings. It's all just, really, you want the sell, but to nurture the buyer, get them down the funnel appropriately, you can't be focused on, even not, I would say in this stage of the funnel, on the ROI, right? You just need to be focused on making sure that you get these engagement metrics, create content around these questions, and then take a look and say, what does their time on site look like? What does the engagement rate look like? What does my click-through rate look like? Those are the ways you can see that you're winning in this phase of the funnel.
Yeah. Real quick, we put first-party data on here as a channel. Really, the reason that we put that is because display and video are often looked at as top-of-funnel channels, which is true. But really, your first-party data or remarketing to any past customers, it could be, or website visitors, is more of a middle-of-funnel strategy. You're re-engaging them and keeping them coming back. But what Cannon was saying is, we're still not looking at ROI or ROAS or purchases or leads here in the middle of the funnel. But the different thing with middle of funnel to top of funnel is that we do hope to see an immediate increase in these micro conversions. So if it's page views, again, to go back to this example is VDPs. So it's page views. We want people, car dealerships often know how many VDPs on average lead to a sale. And so if we can drive more VDPs, hopefully more sales come and follow that. And that's because they like the price, or they like that specific model or that color or whatever it is. And so this is an example of one of our dealerships that we started a social inventory-based campaign. So it's showing all the vehicles, and they click on those and immediately go to the VDP page, as well as VIN retargeting, which can be done on display and social. It's the same idea. The goal of that is to drive as many VDPs as possible. Now, those channels don't often drive the most leads, but they're very effective in creating that desire and creating that engagement that we're looking for. This is Jack Harlow, his breakout song. There's really only one line that I can use from it, and it's got a lot of options. The rest of it is very explicit. But your customers have a lot of options, and it's important to remember that and do what you can to keep them engaged.
All right. We got to the bottom of the funnel. We're here. As you can see, we have our boy Drizzy Drake. Any guesses as to the line that might tie in here? Anybody? Drake fan?
Where's Landon
Something
at?
about the bottom. Made it from the bottom. Now we're here. All right. Anyways, so this is the phase that everybody is waiting for, right? This is the phase where your consumers are educated. They know who you are. They've been educated about your brand. You've been re-engaging them. They're ready to make a decision, and now it's your job to close the deal. Really, the channels that are involved in this part of the funnel are the channels that most people are aware of and would associate with this part of the funnel. Paid search, SEO, paid social, email, and then, as Peyton mentioned, we put first-party data here because we do feel like first-party data can be utilized in multiple different channels and can be utilized in different parts of the funnel based on how you utilize it. So some of the, I want to go through these questions because I think these are really awesome. These are the questions that your potential customers might be asking or probably are asking themselves at this phase. And so these really are the questions that you guys need to be answering for them, right? Or that you need to be providing a solution to. So how do I make the purchase? Like, is it online? Are there any discounts, promotions, bundles available? How long will it take to receive the product or service? What is the return exchange policy if I'm not satisfied? What kind of warranty or guarantee is provided? How does the checkout process work? Is it secure? What kind of customer support is available after the purchase? So maybe these seem obvious. I'll give credit to our one of our guys that just came on, Mitch. He helped us with these questions. But honestly, reading when he sent over some of the questions for us, I thought it was pretty eye-opening. How often do we actually think through the questions that our consumers are going to be asking and are thinking of during different parts? And are we tailoring the messaging that we have towards answering these questions? Are we tailoring the content that we are delivering to them to answer the questions and to remove friction? Because that's really what it's about right now. At the buying phase, it's about removing friction and making it as easy as possible for the consumer to take that last step, take that next action.
Lots of Matt from Sitka, when he was up here, lots of his answers were about that, about meeting the customer where they are, really focusing on what they want and what they need. And so, yeah, and putting yourself in the customer's shoes will help you do that.
Yeah, I'll just add just to give Jeffrey a little plug here. Jeffrey runs our CRO team. So when Brendan talks about reducing friction, I think a great investment, if any, some people in the audience has probably done this, but if you run some CRO and do some A/B testing with your websites, changing button colors, changing call to actions, and then testing those variants against a baseline to see what performs better over a month or two, can give you a lot of insight into what journey your buyer prefers the most, right? What is the most the journey that reduces the amount of friction and is the easiest? And what I love about that is the users are giving you the data. They're telling you through the data what version of the website they prefer. And the biggest thing to kind of bring this full circle with CRO, it helps every medium. It helps every medium perform better. So you're not just running CRO and the checkouts, the leads, not only do those get better, but when you're running video, when you're running SEO, when you're running paid search, when you're running display, when those people make their way into your websites, you know that you have the most ideal structure, as far as you know, to get them to convert to a lead, right? And so I think that that's a really great investment, and it's oftentimes overlooked. So yeah, I would definitely recommend some CRO if you haven't done that before. And once you find that, if a variant kind of sticks out with a higher conversion rate, 7-8%, that's your new baseline. Run the test back again, switch it up again. Always be testing, right, to find out what is most optimal for your users.
All right, so this is a graph, an example of what you would hope to see when launching paid search. So as opposed to other stages of the funnel, this is the stage where it's you are looking for ROI. You're looking for ROAS. You're looking to convert. You're looking for an immediate impact when you're implementing a low funnel strategy that hasn't been running before. You're looking for an immediate increase in leads. So not the micro conversions or the page views that we talked about in the middle of the funnel, VDPs, and in the beginning of the funnel, we're not just talking about search volume and awareness. No, we're talking about when you implement it, you want to see that lift in leads. We got our boy DJ Khaled on here. Any guesses to the line that?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we want another one. We want another conversion, another one. But yeah, this is a phase of the funnel where you should be focusing on getting that return.
Awesome. Okay, we'll just, this is our last slide, and then we'll do a little Q&A. So each stage has its own unique value. I was thinking about this slide, and probably the best way, or the way that I wanted to kind of get the point across of the top, the top one here, and that would be, I almost thought about like the car, right? And you have your gas tank, and if you're only running like the bottom of the funnel, then you're a quarter full. If you're running the middle of the funnel, then you're half full. If you're running all three funnels together, then you're full, and that's going to take you further. That is 100% true for the marketing funnel. If you're only focused on more transactional queries, like buy a Tacoma today, buy a new Tacoma, those type of keywords, yeah, that might serve you well in the short term, but once they buy that car, how long is that user, until you see them again, how long will it be until they come back? And that's assuming they remember your brand. That's assuming they remember that they really loved the experience they got while buying their car. There's no guarantees there. So to have all layers working together, feeding people down the funnel, ensures that you have a constant rotation, supply of people that are interested. You've nurtured them clear down, and you're running on a full tank. You're going to go a lot further.
Key metrics change by stage, and I know that this seems like it would be obvious, but time and time again, people are hoping and expecting for display and video or VIN retargeting or social even to drive car sales or home purchases or whatever it is. And it's really important that before you deploy something or as you're doing it, that beforehand the conversation is, what does success look like with this specific spend? And it should be objective based and not just channel based. Obviously the end goal is to make more money as a business, but you have to consider how you're going to do that and where each channel falls into that, and then what metrics will help you determine if that was successful to help people move along the path to conversion.
So think about your consumer journey. You got to think about where your users are during their marketing phase, and if you're tailoring your messaging the same for all of your potential customers, regardless of where they are in their buying journey, you're going to be less successful. If you can take a step back and think about your consumer and where they are in their purchase journey, and really tailor your goal for that channel towards where they are in the journey, and make sure that you're messaging that in a way that speaks to them, you're going to be much more successful. Basically, like, you never mind. I was going to give an analogy, but I won't, because it'll embarrass Camden. So. But just be conscious of where they are in the journey. A one-size-fits-all is not the right approach. You need to think about where your consumers are and make sure that you're messaging accordingly.
With that, does anyone have any questions or even anything that they've done successful or any problems that they're having? Like any discussion we can have right now is welcome.
And another one.
Perfect.
It is good to see you guys. Thank you guys for coming. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining the session. I know it's the last one of the day, so hopefully it was entertaining enough, and thank you very much.